let's take a look at how we can get to know the SQL Change Automation plugin within SSMS. Okay, I have the plugin open right here in my SSMS window. And I can get started by opening an existing SQL Change Automation project. So I can do that by opening up the .sql proj file. Alternatively, as this is one I've recently opened, I can also use that prompt. And once I do so, then I have 4 windows within this screen. I can generate migrations, apply changes to my database, view my migrations files, and verify the migration files I've already made. In this case, I've actually spun up a copy of my developer environment, my dev2 environment. So I'm going to start off by reconnecting to that environment. Once I do so, I can hit the Apply to Database section, and we'll see if there are any scripts that could be applied to that database. So here I have 2 files that I need to apply to get the most up-to-date version of my schema as exists in source control. So I'll hit Apply, and then those changes are going to be made on my local machine. If I want to have a look at those, then I can select them to open them up in Management Studio. Okay, let's have a look at making some changes in my dev2 environment. So for instance, I might want to add a new column to one of my tables. My contacts table has a lot of contact information in it already. Maybe I want another one. The second change I'm going to make is to quickly script out using SQL prompt a new stored procedure. And then the final change I'm going to make is to add a new data item in one of my tables. Specifically, this country codes table is a great example of a table containing lookup data. Lookup data, or any kind of data made by developers, is frequently something that we'd want to capture alongside any schema changes we make. Okay, so I've made my 3 changes. Let's go back to my SQL Change Automation window. And now I'm going to go to my Generate Migration screen. And the plugin is going to have a look at my database and see what exactly has changed. When I select any of these changes, we can have a look in a little bit more detail. Here I've added a new column. Here a new stored procedure, and here we have that new data item. I can select which changes I want to push into my source control repository, and when I'm happy with that, I can hit the Generate Migrations button. Now I can see exactly what that's done. So we've created one migration file and then also one programmable object. To have a look at that in a bit more detail, I can go to the migration section. And here I can see that file that's just been made. And this is something I can have a look at. I can even choose to edit this file if I so desire. For instance, if we have a complex change that we're making to our database, we might want to control how that change is applied. Assuming I am happy with that file, then I'll go back to the plugin window. It's worth also noting that we have the option to take programmable objects and store them separately. So here is that store procedure I wrote. But crucially, when I'm ready to check this into source control, then I can do so using whatever source control platform I choose to use. So in this case, I'm going to be using Git, and I'm going to use a third-party plugin to commit that up to my source control repository. And that's done. Okay, so that is how we can use the SQL Change Automation plugin within SSMS to source control a database. We can make some changes in a database, we can capture them in migration scripts, and then essentially push them into our source control repository of choice.